Cool.
Sweet. The podcast, the broadcast.
Back in action.
Back in action. 2 weeks in a row. Back in the flow. We'll get it going. Sponsored by...
Soon to be.
Potentially sponsored by. I'm going to get that down. Happy Dad. Cheers.
Cheers, mate.
You know, after we do get a couple of these in, and they're posted, I am going to research and see how I can reach out to their agent or something. I'm going to shoot a shot, and I'm going to say we are probably the cheapest production that you could ever ask for.
100%, yeah.
Where else are you going to find two people, if they believe that this is a mildly good production setup of quality, two people doing content, it looks halfway decent, and they're posting it.
Yeah.
They're doing it, editing. They're doing everything.
Yeah, and all we want is just a case for every time. For every pod.
You know what? I wish that were the case. I would like to have around, a budget of maybe $750.
Yeah.
Maybe $500. I'll start $500 a month.
Yeah.
But I have to reel that one. Sorry, Harry. One case isn't going to get it done.
I was just trying to get my foot in the door, right?
That's true. What am I thinking? You know what? You're right. One case will do it.
Start small, grow big, innit?
100%.
That's not even a saying, but fuck it.
100%. Oh.
Now it comes on.
The screen just popped on. Okay. My headlines that I've got for this week. So first one is involves the CDC. Right. And the Vax cards. I've got political-wise, Trump's case. Don't want to dig into it, but I just got to acknowledge that that's happening because it's something that, I don't know, it's just kind of irritating me.
Yeah, there's some fishy talk that I've heard around it and just some weird stuff that's going on, so that'd be cool to get into.
100%. Vegas Sphere. I know everybody's probably seen this thing by now. Pretty cool. Some tech stuff, just kind of following up from last week. I think you brought up the fact that they were overheating. I think you enlightened me on that. I don't think I was aware, but I ended up looking at it after the pod and saw the info, and now it looks like Apple has done something to fix it. And last on mine is the Powerball, which at this moment, I think the next drawing's Saturday, but at this moment, it's at like the third highest ever.
That would be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Could you imagine?
I don't even know what I'll do with the money. I'll be honest with you. That'd be cool. We could come up with some theories what we could do.
100%.
My topic's really just again stemming from last week's pod. I think I touched on AI a little bit, or maybe I didn't get to it, but there's a few bit of like cool technologies going around that, which I don't know if you heard about it, but just to go into it, be kind of cool, and how it could be like implied just in your everyday life or even like the work life, which is probably where I'll angle towards.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if you heard about it, but there was some talk around LeBron James and potential like PED usage, and I wanted to sort of spark a debate on whether that's like just have a few words to say on it.
Yeah, maybe just dig right into that one. First off, what is that? What is that acronym? PED? Is that like
performance enhancing drug?
Oh, okay.
Right. Gotcha. So that's like any kinds of like steroids or like testosterone and stuff like that. Obviously, in the fitness world or even in like the competitive sports, it is unanimously banned just because of like the benefits you get from it. Obviously, there's a stigma around steroids that it is like when you take steroids, you're just gonna get massive and you're just gonna get built with tons of muscles, whatever. However, it's actually more in the use. It's like its usage really is actually for recovery. So it allows you to recover faster and better and train harder and train more frequently, which then could obviously then give you that advantage.
Gotcha. So a lot of it actually isn't, because you're right. When I think of it, I think of you're getting bigger.
You think of your Arnold. Yeah.
In the moment, you're better. But you're saying it also helps with like rehabilitation or just...
Yeah, that's the main part of it. It just helps with like actually, recovery. So it allows you to, instead of being able to train 1 time a day, maybe train to 2 to 3 times a day. So you're actually getting more repetitions on the muscle, or you're getting more like conditioning work in and stuff like that. Or if you have an injury, you can come back from that injury a lot faster. Which, there's been tons of talk around LeBron and obviously like, his incredible longevity in the game. And I mean, it's just like, it's amazing. He's an absolute specimen. So, there were some talks where I guess something came up where there was like a steroid usage with that had his wife's name under it.
Wow.
Yeah, so they were wondering whether that could be like a cover for him getting it from some famous trainer who has taken under the James, and he's worked with tons of high level athletes like Dwayne Wade and stuff like that. Whether he's getting this performance enhancing drugs for LeBron, which is potentially what allows him to stay in the game at the top level and perform.
Wow.
And then then you get into stuff like all of his accolades and achievements for the sport. Is it now tarnished by that? I mean, what happened to Lance Armstrong? I mean, he got everything taken away from him, and now when you think of him, you no longer think of the greatest Tour de France cyclist ever. You think of the guy who cheated his way to the top, 100%. Where everyone else in the Tour de France was taking the steroids, but he was the one that got investigated.
Yeah, 100%. And that's happened multiple times across the board, right? Another person that just pops in my head is like A-Rod, right? Like Alex Rodriguez, like one of the best ball players ever. But I think at the end of his career, when he got busted, it's like, okay.
Yeah.
So I'm with you. But yeah, wow. Going back, like kind of pulling it back in, it's hard to, because that opens up a whole can of worms too. Because I believe his whole family, even his kids, are very talented as well. So it's like if somebody's going and getting performance enhancements, everybody under that umbrella is kind of
could be up for the debate and stuff like that. Yeah, if it's just him, then is there anyone else in the league? And I guarantee you, I think across all competitive sports, everyone's trying to get as much of an edge as they possibly can.
100%. So sorry to interrupt you there, but what's coming to mind now is like, why? If okay, so you're saying it was potentially his wife? It was under his wife's name or something?
Under his wife's name. I think it was like maybe like a peptide or some. I can't remember the exact thing, but it was along the lines of steroids.
Okay, so say that is the case. Mm-hmm. If that's, let's not get with specifics here, but I think that it is important in modern society. If you're an athlete or if you're a public figure, you have to be. It's not annoyingly over transparent. It's just being an honest person. Yeah. So it's like but also that could be like a kind of a personal thing as well. Mm-hmm. But I guess what I'm saying is if she's going and getting these performance enhancement drugs, there's nothing wrong with like, LeBron or whomever saying like, hey,
she does this.
This is happening like just because my career, my longevity in my brand and everything I've ever done is very important to him and, to his fans and to the sport itself. Yeah. Just publicly say, hey, quickly just, and I know that's easy for us to say. It's like he might not even thought about that or it could not be true or whatever the hell it is. But the only thing I can say is in modern society, these public figures, they just have to be a little overly,
I mean, great example, Joe Rogan. I mean, Joe Rogan has openly come out and said that he does testosterone because, once you get at a certain age as a human, male or female, testosterone levels drop. And when you have a higher amount of testosterone in your system, in your body, it allows you to recover, feel better. It gives you that sort of spunk, that moxie back. So I can get, and when these athletes are putting their bodies through the absolute ringer, day in and day out for seasons on end. Yeah. You come to think it wouldn't be out of the. No, 100%. We wouldn't be reaching too far for that.
100%. Another thing is they put these vaccinations into their bodies for COVID restrictions and such. And now, suddenly, the CDC doesn't even provide vaccination cards anymore.
It's like, how can you do a full 180 on something that was so, like, vigorously implemented? It's like, you need to get this, you need to have this if you want to do anything in, for example, New York. You had to have it.
Yeah, dude. When the job I was with before, I had to provide information. I had to tally that up, or you were essentially looked at as not a great person. Yeah. So and this is sorry. The only other thing is this was only this actually only hit the wall, or shit hit the fan. We're going on 2024. So it has been almost 4 years, but at the same time, it's only been 4 years, and they yanked it back. So no more No more vax cards provided from the CDC.
It's bizarre. I don't understand that whole. I mean, yeah, like you said, you were literally seen as like an enemy of the state if you didn't have that, and you were like a terrible person. And now they're just like they don't even recognize it as a form of what, you know?
Yeah. I think that's
it's bizarre.
It is. The whole thing is, and we, of course, you can unravel that and go down, as I always say, as rabbit holes. But dude,
tinfoil hat fully on with those kind of conversations.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, it's all about control, really, and you know, with control, there's obviously new technologies coming out with the AI stuff, and obviously that's growing bigger and bigger, and people figuring out how to implement that into businesses and their everyday life. I mean, we use it for the podcast.
Yeah.
You use it for your business in multiple elements. The thing that popped up for me was actually this thing called AI monitoring. Have you heard about that at all? Okay. So I think the study that it was done in was a coffee shop, and what it uses the cameras and the AI software that takes the imaging and then it plugs it through. I don't know how it works intricately, but for example, if you got Sally and then Beth, who are two coffee workers or coffee shop workers or employees, and Sally, she is producing 6 coffees a day, whereas Beth is producing 15. Now, as a manager, it's very hard unless you're micromanaging everyone to sort of see. So, but as a company, you might be underperforming in certain areas and you don't know where or why. With this technology, it should allow you to actually monitor the employee, so it can see, be like, okay, and it gives you a review on that. So, okay, Sally, you can talk to me, like, you only made 6 coffees today, whereas Beth made 15.
Yeah.
What's going on? And then, they're kind of being honest up front with you. Or you can go and, use the AI software to actually, delve into it and be like, okay, well, she checked her phone, 16 times throughout the day, whereas, Beth had her phone locked away or whatever like that. So then you sort of increase the productivity of the place. But does that infringe slightly on your human right?
I think, okay, so my thought is that it's going to be up to the businesses to... the leadership of the businesses decide how they want their company to be run.
Right.
Do they want it to be full of people that are, being checked on these types of things? Or at the end of the day, is there goals that you have to achieve and that you want to achieve? Yeah. And how you get there doesn't matter. But as long as you're contributing to the business, there's going to be no issues. But there's things now, that's not AI related that I'm aware of that will watch your screen and just see how much usage is going on.
Yeah, with all the working from home stuff, they have like how 100%. Active you've been on it. So it's kind of already there.
That's been around for years. Yeah.
But maybe this is just a little bit more slightly invasive just in terms of because it now applies to those workers who aren't working from home or they don't have a computer input where they can kind of track the activity. I mean, you can see it like a bad thing, obviously, in the sense that it could put like a lot of pressure on the employees where they feel like they constantly have to be bang on it throughout the day without hesitation. But it also could be seen as a good thing, because then the Beth in the scenario, who's the one who's overperforming and hitting those targets, and then she's the one who is going to get the raise.
Yeah, so, I see what you're saying. The only thing I have a personal preference on that situation, which would definitely not be integrating AI into that. Yeah. There's other ways to show if somebody's an outstanding performer versus, and everybody could be doing great. And if somebody stands out, there's other ways to know how. I would feel in a weird spot if I was being calculated by all of these different metrics. I don't know. I love AI. I do. I think that there's so many benefits of it, and I'm definitely the optimist of it. It's like, okay, how do we utilize it to make our world better? Yeah. But then there's some times where people could use it in a way that I'm not saying it's wrong. I just would never do that.
No, it is a little bit intense, and it's but I'm completely on the side with you. I would feel a little bit weird, but I also can see the benefits to it in like a larger, more corporate company, such as Amazon or something like that, or like a Starbucks, where maybe you're not being individually like monitored day by day, but again,
or use it as like use it as like an achievement tool, like you said. Like if there's somebody doing something really great, it's like you made it. You made 1,000 great coffees without like a report or something of that nature. Just pull out great stats. Yeah. Don't get caught up in the other shit because at the end of the day, if you're just like going on to that, then you're essentially going to make people feel like robots. It's just the word. Yeah. No way you can do that.
Like you said at the start, it's up to the employer or the company how they would use the technology. But 100%. I agree with your way.
100%. And one way as an employee to avoid that entirely is to win the lottery.
Yes.
Or win,
exactly.
something like, say you could win $1.3 billion.
Can you do that right now?
Could you imagine? Yes, you can. So this Saturday, the lottery is going to hit $1.3 billion, which get ready for this one, dude. So $1.3 billion, or I'm sorry, $1.4 billion.
Oh, an extra.
The take home is an extra 100 mil there. The take home is $643 million.
Fuck taxes.
643.7, right? Yeah, fuck taxes. But it's the third largest winning of all time. And I did a quick calculation and I was like, okay, say you win just the take home. No interest that you would get off of that money if you were smart with investing. Just that 643.7 million.
Yep.
And you were to divvy it up in 50 years. So you have 50 years time to spend all of that money, okay?
Yeah.
Guess how much you would have to spend a month to get through all of that in 50 years?
50 years. I mean, 50 years is a long time. I feel like, and they base a lot of money. What, you're talking a month?
1 month. 1 month for every month for the next 50 years to spend all of that money.
I'm not going to embarrass myself with the mathematic calculation.
You just want me to tell you?
Please tell me. Go on.
Just over $1 million. So it's like 1,070,000, I think. 1 million a year, Harry.
I could do it.
And guess what that is a day?
How much?
Break it down even more. $35,000 a day.
A day.
For the next 50 years. Just to spend that. And that's not like if you put, all that money and you were just spending the interest every year. Yeah. I'm talking, that's just to get through that money. In 50 years, it'd take you $35,000 a day.
Oh my gosh. That is absurd. I mean, honestly, if you're listening and you're in control of the lottery, I will take that challenge on and I will try my hardest to spend $3,500 a day.
Could you imagine though? Like you know what? You go, fuck it. I'm just gonna sit on I'm gonna watch football on Sunday. I'm gonna go golf with the boys and just go watch football.
$3,500.
And you just didn't spend it. You're like, fuck. Now I've got to spend $70,000 tomorrow.
Oh no.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like just compounds. Like, fuck. How am I to spend $70,000 tomorrow? Jesus.
Oh,
could you imagine?
No, I couldn't. But that sounds like a dream. I mean, with that kind of money,
I would do so many fun things, but so many good things.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I wouldn't be like those people that, somehow, and I don't know the exact number of percentage of stats wise, but the amount of people that go completely bankrupt or broke after winning the lottery is way too high for my understanding.
100%. And I think I'm not saying, I mean, this is at a different level, but yes, I could see somebody winning. I frown like it's not that much money. But imagine like $2 million. Like somebody could win $2 million and then just go to nothing. I could see that for sure.
Those kind of people do not deserve to win the lottery. I'm sorry to say it, but
I'm with you. Oh, speaking of not deserving, quickly, last thing on that. So there was two people. I don't think it was I think yesterday, some people in Pennsylvania or something went, but I think when they pulled out on Monday this week. Because it's right, you know how the Powerball works, right? Where it's like if nobody wins, it rolls over and gets larger and larger.
Okay.
But people can still win, depending on how many numbers they have, millions, and still win.
Oh, really?
Yes. So my point of you saying that person doesn't deserve it. Yeah. Somebody in I think it was just south of Fort Lauderdale. There's just one of the wealthiest communities. Yeah. And it hit it that fucking Publix in Florida. Gosh. So I looked up on Zillow with Mo, and I'm like, babe, let's look at that area. On Zillow, it's a lot, just a lot with no home. It's $20 million. And I'm somebody won $1 million there. Isn't that frustrating? That's
honestly that's poetic. That is just the rich get richer in it.
But I feel like there should be some sort of cap on that. I don't want to be that guy. I feel like everybody deserves their chance to win. But if you have a net worth of over X amount, it's like, come on.
You can't play it.
Give us a break.
Just let me have a chance, please.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, gosh.
Anyway, speaking of high net worth, at least in terms of business, Apple is the other thing that I've got here. And I know we got a couple minutes left on the first half of the pod. You said last week, I believe you said last week, that the phones were, because I think I was aware of the cracking thing. You were talking about the fact that they were overheating.
Yes.
And I looked it up, and it's definitely the case. And now, I don't know if you saw, but Apple is actually releasing a software update.
Oh.
Yeah.
So is it something to do with iOS 17 then, maybe?
I'm not sure, but
Right.
it's just apparently it's it's not like a major like new iOS update.
Right.
It's just a quick software update that you should do overnight to prevent it from overheating.
That's crazy that you can even do that via update and just like a little over the cloud update that you can just fix like a problem like that.
Yeah.
Okay, but that's more promising then. That it's not like an actual like, by the sounds of it, component failure then.
That's true. That's a good point.
That is for it to come out like that and for it to not be prepared. I mean, like, if you're saying this is an easy fix as it was just by an update, surely you would have done some testing beforehand.
No, 100%.
Bit of a slip up from them, if you ask me.
100%. That's what I'm saying. The biggest. I think we said it last week too. It's like, how can you be that large? That much amount of monetary value and resources.
Yeah.
A huge amount of QA processes, but they still, and everybody's human, but it's just funny when they're like trying to be the best. And then like, I think even in their, did you see the commercial where they did a shot of the iPhone, the new iPhone, and they didn't put the dynamic island on it. It's not there. It's like, how many, even as a media expert, how many reviews that went and how many executives watched that and they still missed the dynamic island wasn't on there.
Jeez. Yeah, I mean, like any tech reviewer like MKBHD or something like that, along those lines, they're going to take that trailer and they always dissect it and go through the things and then be like, well, where's the dynamic island? Little things like that. Yeah, I mean, like you said, the amount of resource and money that company has, just people in general, you think that would have been ironed out maybe.
100%. But it happened. I mean, that's why... And obviously, again, it's easy for us to say because when you're at that level and you're at the biggest pedestal in the world, all eyes are on you. Everything's scrutinized.
Pressure is on constantly.
100%. But you got to love it. Speaking, the only other thing I kind of got here, I think you had a couple topics there. Was there anything else before I jump into this other?
No. I was actually interested to hear about I think you were talking about the Sphere earlier. Was that the one you were going to jump into?
I was actually going to, lastly, I didn't even mention it at the top of the pod, but I do have it jotted down here. Just a quick thing. But Meta actually, because obviously a lot of their revenue is based off of ads, they're actually thinking about doing some sort of subscription where if you pay $10 a month or $15 a month, you have no ads, which I thought was a very interesting take.
Wow.
If that is true. It's a rumor.
Right.
But that would be a wild way because their revenue model for the last decade has been essentially just on their ad revenue from placing ads, and now they're thinking about
taking that out,
which I think is. I mean, I'm surprised it took them this long. I thought they would be a little ahead of the curve because things are.
Yeah, I mean, you got companies like Hulu, Peacock, all that sort of stuff where you pay the extra money to get rid of the ads, and I'll tell you, I do it every time.
Yeah,
like I don't have problems with ads or something like that. Like the only one I don't pay for is YouTube Premium because it's YouTube, and I thought it's had ads for ages. But like stuff like Hulu, like just regular TV and watching movies and stuff like that, yeah, I'm 100% paying for that extra just to not have like, I don't know, Clash of Clans pop up every 10 seconds.
Dude, I know. You know what? I know exactly what you're talking about too. The fucking little I know exactly
the little games or whatever. God. Oh god, they look fun. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay, so they look fun, but have you ever downloaded them?
No, never. Because
see, Sorry.
You have?
Yeah, well, I've downloaded one because it looked like it was fun, and it's not even like, I don't even know what they put on the ad.
It's all
but it's
fake.
It's not the gameplay at all. Nah. So I'm like, how is this even legal? Because I downloaded the game. I'm like, oh, this is terrible.
Yeah, this is nothing like
that. The other one looked cool. It was like a machine gun. It was like zombies running or something.
That's the exact one. Yes, that is the exact one. And you know what? I was like, this looks too good to be true. I was like, I'm not buying for that.
Yeah, 100%. And of course, I get it. And it's like it's just not it at all. But anyways, I think we're wrapped up on I'm sorry, I interrupted you too really fast, Harry. I know we got a couple more. I mean, at least I think another 60 seconds on this first half of the pod.
Yeah, it's fun.
I don't know if you were going to say something there or not.
No, it's fine. My feelings just really hurt. Nah, perfect. I think we wrapped up a little good point there. So
sweet.
On to the second.
Yes, sir.
With the PEDs, I'm kind of like, is it that bad? Really? It's like, in order to get the benefits from those performance-enhancing drugs, you actually have to put the time and the work in and all that sort of stuff. So it's like, me and you can't just start taking steroids and testosterone and just expect to be the next Arnold Schwarzenegger. So
100%.
It's like...
No, I love this. I love this because I've always said that I think there should be, there should be a separate league.
Right, that was my idea. I literally, do you know how fun an Olympics, like a PED Olympics would be? You literally get to see the human body pushed to the absolute. You dial it up all the way. Yeah. Usain Bolt's 100-meter sprint records getting dusted.
Yeah. Dude, I'm with you. I just imagine baseball in general. I mean, these guys, these Barry Bonds of the world, Rodriguez, these guys were roided out and launching. Imagine if everybody could actually do it.
It'd just be...
If they made the ball, they could hit it out of the stadium. I feel like it'd be very entertaining.
It would be. I mean, because you touched on it earlier, but like the baseball side of things. I mean, from when I was looking into this, and just all sports in general, baseball was the one that had the major crackdown because everyone was on steroids in the baseball league. Like it was just a widely known thing that got exposed. I mean, there's even stuff with football or soccer where it's like the Liverpool team.
The only sport that didn't is the WWE.
Right, yeah.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I mean,
I'm kidding, clearly. These guys are jacked. I mean, they're just opposite.
Brock Lesnar, for example, he made a transfer from WWE to UFC, and he was, and that was before USADA was a thing, and he was shredded to the gills.
That guy is a monster.
Yeah, I mean, he's like an anatomical freak anyway, just in terms of like his size and everything like that. But I mean, he was also juiced to the nines. So,
100%. And I was watching a Rogan clip today with Kurt Angle. Just had Kurt Angle on recently. Yeah, I don't know if you caught any of that. But
I did hear a little bit of it. Yeah,
this actually did come up in their conversation because Kurt Angle, I mean, he's a legend. I think people do realize that. I shouldn't say they don't, but he was like an Olympic medalist in wrestling. And he kind of said that. He was like, dude, the most badass person is Brock Lesnar. Yeah. Like that guy was a beast. He's fucking massive, but he's also quick on his feet. And then obviously he was great he still is great in the entertainment world of wrestling. Yeah. And then obviously crushed it in
UFC.
The UFC as well.
Yeah, no, he did really well, just like in terms of like the crossover. Obviously, I mean, MMA is like, or UFC is brutal. So to go from WWE, which is obviously, I mean, it's brutal anyway, just like the kind of stunts they're doing and the toll on the body, but to actually translate that into, actually like smashing someone's face in, like, not holding back on punches and stuff like that, and to do as well as he did. Yeah. Very impressive.
Yeah, that's incredible. Yeah. And again, like just hearing it from them, like the actual source of saying, like, you got Rogan that's a fucking, obviously been with the UFC forever. Yeah. And then Kurt Angle that was kind of, with him at the WWE side of things or WWF side of things.
Yeah, deep in it on there.
But yeah, absolute badass. But yeah, that's the thing. It's like even when you think he's on roids, and you'd imagine he is. But then when he goes over to UFC, I'm sure they have strict regulations.
Well, yeah. When he first made the transfer over, USADA, which is the drug testing agency or whatever, they weren't like a thing. They weren't established yet properly. So I think he kind of got away with it. There was like tons of people that were like, they had testosterone levels in the thousands of nanograms per deciliters, whereas like the typical range for a human male is like anywhere from like 600 to 800, and these guys were clocking in at like 2,000-3,000 or whatever it was.
Holy shit!
So I mean, like, that's why you got like the absolute like action men, like just chiseled absolute monsters doing it. So
yeah.
But that was fun though, to watch to go back and watch the clips of these guys. Like we were saying, you were just like the pinnacle of like how far you can take a human body in terms of performance and power and just overall physique and stuff like that.
You think there'll be some? I'd imagine there's gonna. Well, that's the thing though, right? You organize a league, you get professional, and then there's the health consequences. That there's so much legal stuff that even if that's probably why it's never been done before.
Yeah.
It's like if you're like, okay, yeah, everybody can do, and then something goes sideways, which I think in the WWE actually has. Yeah. There's been a couple of just because when I was younger I used to follow it a lot, but there's been a couple wrestlers that have just lost it, and that could be stimulated because of whatever enhancements and just mix of different things that they were doing.
Yeah, I mean, I think there was a documentary on Netflix. It was like Gladiators or something like that. Which is, you remember that show where it was the guys in there to like fight off of it? Like there was a whole expose on everything that happened. I mean, tons of people died from that because they were just getting juiced up with steroids and stuff like that, and it just obviously the toll it takes on the body is with like, I don't know what it does to the body, but just the toll that it does take. I mean, I think a lot of them pass away from steroid abuse and other like narcotics and stuff like that.
But no. And that's why even like when I say that sarcastically, it's like, oh, I'd always say like a league would be cool, but then idea wise it sounds great, but then when you get into logistics, you're like, okay, that doesn't really make sense.
No, it would be fun if it was like monitored correctly. I don't know how you would do that or go about that, but if you could find a way, I mean, 100% I'd be down to watch that.
Yeah, 100%.
Great entertainment.
No, I'm with you. Speaking of health, I do have one on some kind of cool info here. I saw a thing where this doctor, his name is Ernst Schwartz, so he's getting a shout out here. Just kind of saying that if somebody actually looks this up. But apparently, this guy's saying that living to 120 years old is attainable within the next decade.
What?
I don't know too much about it. It was just kind of kind of proactively getting some conversation going here. But apparently, it's stem cell treatments that will extend life. But again, it's not about the details. It's just kind of like, I guess I was going to say, if you could extend life, which will happen, it's like at what point would you not continue to extend life? Or would you? You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
I mean, there's definitely a level for me, I think. I have thought about it because I think I did see something about that where it popped up about the stem cell, because obviously it regenerates your cells and it helps grow back. I mean, Joe Rogan, to give him another shout out, he's talked about stem cell therapy where he's got it in his shoulder, it's healed his like shoulder injuries and stuff like that. So it does work. And then I can say in that sense that obviously, if you have dying cells in the body, or then, to get them rejuvenated and regenerated, that 120 probably is attainable. But for me, going back to your question, I think the limit for me would be when I can't do just like my day-to-day things. I think at that point then it's kind of like, what's the point? If I can't get up and walk around, and hopefully by that age I have some grandkids or whatever like that, you know what I mean? If I can't do those basic sort of things,
so
wipe my own ass or something.
Just hire. Well, when you win the Powerball, somebody will wipe your ass for you.
That is the first on the agenda. But all 600 million is going to someone wiping my ass for the next 50 years.
Right. But no, okay. So I'm saying, aside from that, so say you're able to live to 120 but be very mobile. You have some sort of prosthetic, I don't know, Neuralink with prosthetic arms and you're very like, you could go fucking on the golf course at 120. My question is, where do you lie on when life shouldn't be extended anymore? Or is there And I don't mean to put you on the spot. It's more of just an open conversation.
Yeah.
But I thought to myself, when I saw 120 in the next decade, by the time that we're older, it could be 150.
200,
it could be 200. And it's like, do I want to, is that going against
human nature,
the universe, religion? Are those things that I want to,
abide by the rules, sort of thing?
Yeah. Kind of like, you kind of want to live a natural life. Mm-hmm. But those are questions that we have to think about and going into the next few decades, no doubt.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they're all questions that you're going to get to, like you're saying. I mean, it's just that comes with the territory of extended life. It's a tough question to answer. I think as long as you're still providing a good output. Yeah, I think maybe. Like a positive output, net positive output. I think maybe the option for you to continue living should be available to you if the technology and the resources is there for that. So maybe hypothetically, this sounds kind of crazy, but it could get to the point where it's like, oh, you have like an assessment. So if you want to get the stem cell treatment to gain an extra 10 years of your life, and still operate as you are. What are you doing for the community, or what are you doing for blah blah blah, the betterment of society, or how you actually like benefiting the world? Because like you said, there's a cycle of human nature. So people die at a certain age, and that's just kind of the way way life goes. I wonder whether if you want to extend your life and you want to stay on this planet longer, you have to make sure that you're actually doing a positive impact to rejuvenate the earth, or to not not to make it like a worse place with like overpopulation or whatever it is.
Right. No, I'm with you.
That's very dystopian though, or whatever.
It is though. It is dystopian in a way, because it's like then you are living your life, dedicated to. See, that's why this is such a great conversation, because I don't want a world of people like pretending to make humanitarian efforts,
right,
because they want to extend life.
Yeah.
Like that shouldn't ever be the case. You should be a good human because you want to be a good human, which I know you agree with, but it's like you start getting into calculations and numbers. People are never really going to do something because they just want to be nice.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or just be good, because, it might take longer to, go in, I don't know, plant a tree than it is to go and, pick up, I don't know.
No, I get what you're saying.
Figure out the most efficient ways to get the most
of course.
points.
And everyone, and that's the thing that kind of sucks with society, or just like, I think it's just human nature in general. Like we're always trying to find shortcuts, which is a good thing and also a bad thing.
Yeah.
I
100% agree with that statement. It is definitely a good thing and a bad thing.
But I'd like to think that if what you're saying is true, and I do agree with a lot of it, where it's like a lot of the time people will try and find the easiest way to maybe meet the criteria or whatever. It's still an incentive to do something good. I mean, end of the day, it's good is good. So hopefully, I mean, like what we're talking about is crazy, but hopefully you just have faith that the people that, there are a select amount of people, just like there are in society today, that are those ones who actually do good things for the sake of doing a good thing, as opposed to a monetary or a gain in life years or whatever.
No, 100%. But again, where I stand with it is like, I don't know, like I would want to live longer, because then once you get old, and then I think that's a beautiful thing about life too, is like having kids and whatnot. So it's like now I see my visions like, okay, if I was 120 years old, would I want to live longer? Mm-hmm. But now, like you have to really think about it, because when you're 120 years old and you might have grandkids, and then you're like, you don't think about that now though. No. So then it's like, I'm just speaking how my Orthodox can view the world right now. Yeah. But when I'm 120, I might go, I do want to live longer, but not for myself. It's because I want to see
them grow up.
I want to see more. Yeah. I want to see more.
Yeah.
And like, that's that's what I'm saying. You could go on a bunch of different directions on that questions, or like I'm 120, and then like, oh, this might happen in 10 years. With maybe it's not a family based thing. Maybe it's
just a cool event,
a cool thing, or something that whatever you're into. It's like, oh, that's gonna happen in 10 years. It's I gotta live another 10 years.
Yeah, like Mars gets his first hotel or something. Like,
it could be anything.
Yeah.
But I just find that part always like that fascinating, because until now we've not been able to like
even think that that's a possibility. Yeah.
But that's going to be a very real thing. But
I mean, it is exciting to think about, just because I think everyone has, not everyone, but I think definitely the majority of people don't have like a phobia of death, but you don't want it to end because you constantly feel like you're running out of time all the time. Time's the most expensive commodity, the one that you can't necessarily buy, whereas this sounds like you might have the ability to buy back, not buy back time, but to buy more time in order to experience those things, which could, I think you were alluding to, could end up becoming quite selfish and greedy. Yeah. Just because you're like, oh well, I'll stay another 5 years.
It's even wild you saying that though. Yeah. It's like, because that would inevitably be what happens, right?
Yeah, 100%.
People would buy back time.
Yeah.
So that means that if you're 100 years old, right, and you want to buy 20 years, like this stem cell research, you get 20 years guaranteed.
Go 8 years old.
Then what? They have to take like another loan out to extend their life? Imagine that.
You could be
imagine that.
Government-wise, and
imagine that. And again, it might sound far-fetched, but it's really not, because like medicine, like day-to-day medicine, people have to go and get loans because they can't afford to get whatever they need to survive now. Yeah. That would happen, dude. Yeah. That's what I would think about. People would monetize extended life.
Yeah. You could actually have a life pill.
That's wild, dude. Yeah. I'm sorry. That's like, that would be wild. Yeah.
You could have a life pill for an extra 5 years for a total of $10.99 a month.
Yeah, and it's like, fuck.
Yeah.
It's like
subscription based.
It's like my grandkid's pension. I'm sorry, kiddos. I got You don't need college anymore. Pop sees to live another 20 years.
I need to go down to the golf range.
Pop wants to see you get married. So sorry, no college for you.
A few more trips down the range. You know what I'm saying?
Oh Lord.
I mean, it's a wild thing to even think that that's like possible. You know,
it will be though. I mean, that's the thing.
Something that you always dreamed about, maybe, in the sense of like, I think when I was younger, I was just like, oh, I want to find a way to, make a time machine or something like that.
See, that I can subscribe to. I've always wanted a time machine like that, but like I've never once been like, oh, I want to live longer.
No.
I honestly, and again, it could change, and again, when you have kids and that changes you, but as I see it, even then, I'm like, when it's your time, it's your time, because I feel like there's ways to correlate that, not even with just life in general, but like organizations, government, like, there is a time limit, and then that's what makes life great. It's like, then there's a new life of new ideas and new invention, and you gotta pass a baton. You can't just...
Yeah, I mean, you get people like Mitch McConnell.
Yeah, right? I hate to laugh. I really do. But there's been so many jokes. I do hate to laugh because there's something really wrong.
Right, but his time's up.
His time's up.
It's time to go.
It's time to hang it up.
Yeah. No, like you said, it's never been like a thing. I want to live forever, but the time machine sort of thing, it's been like that. And I guess this is probably the closest thing that we would have to that in the sense. In one sense, it's like you get to go back almost 20 years or whatever, how much you buy.
Oh, Morgan and I, we watch, like, we probably exhausted all of them, but we like time travel movies.
Back to the Future, Time Machine.
Yes. Gosh, I can't remember. There was an actual TV series.
Doctor Who?
Not Doctor Who. I'll have to look it up.
Okay.
And send it to you. But essentially, the basis of the television show is they get into this time machine that they create, and then they go back in time, but they go to historical events.
Right.
So it's like,
When they go back to like Rome and stuff like that, like
Rome, they go to like oh my gosh, just like just historic events, anything that you can think of.
Yeah.
But the thing is, obviously, like any time travel show, when they affect something that's happened, then it affects the rest of the timeline.
Right.
But it was just wild because we were learning a lot of stuff about history while we were watching. We're like, oh shit, that happened. But I think it was called Timeless. Timeless.
Maybe.
Yeah. Anyways, it's not super at least in my opinion, it's not as like theatrical. It was just kind of like, oh, they made a machine, they're going back and forth, and a bit more informative. It was a fun series.
That sounds like.
But going back in time, I do have something here. So what's the bit called here? Magic. What are you doing? Gosh, he's got to make his appearance, doesn't he?
I know.
It wouldn't be a pod if Magic didn't make his appearance.
Guest appearance. Celebrity shot.
Yeah, right. I forgot what we're calling this bit.
Crazy coincidence.
Crazy coincidence. Oh yeah, I interrupted that. Can we get another one?
Crazy coincidences.
Okay.
It was better the first time.
Okay. All right. Here's the crazy coincidence. So this one involves again, perfect segue there with historic places or event.
Yes.
Madge. Why is it every time I do the crazy coincidence there's this?
He's like,
we can never. It's impossible. Last week we just couldn't even get through it. Okay, here it is. So this is the Great Pyramid in Egypt, right?
Right.
All right, here we go. The Great Pyramid in Egypt.
Yep.
So the latitude of the Great Pyramid and the speed of light, they have a crazy coincidence. So the speed of light in a vacuum is approximately 299,792,458 meters per second. Okay.
So pretty slow. Yeah.
Very slow. There's a lot of things that could be faster, especially if they put some roids on it. It would take it to the next level. The latitude of the pyramid, the Great Pyramid, is approximately 299,792,458 degrees north. So the approximation, the latitude of the pyramid, it almost exactly aligns with the speed of light.
What? That's crazy. So what? Like I mean that begs the question, like how in tune. I mean, how would you? When was? I don't even know what question to ask.
That's what I'm saying, dude. And there's other things too. Like if you've ever seen where like the pyramid, it points like due north.
True north.
Yeah.
That's what I've heard. True north.
Yeah. There's a lot of other things that are, but I had to add this one in because that was one that I had never heard before.
Yeah.
And the only kind of asterisk to that was that these are like, meters per second. Those are all modern
calculations
that humanity's made up, but still, even with that being said, what are the odds of it being exactly the same?
So similar number. Yeah, I mean,
fucking wild.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, that kind of goes to show like how. I mean, there's tons of theories on it, like the Younger Dryas effect or theory or whatever like that. Where
what is it?
Younger Dryas, I think like that it's called, where essentially there was a cataclysmic event which wiped out an entire civilization, which would align with the pyramids and other stuff like that. So
interesting.
It could have wiped out like an entire like really advanced civilization, differently advanced than we are now. But they might have been more in tune with like the cosmos and stuff like that, being able to point it strictly true north. They might have had an understanding of like how fast things travel in a vacuum or whatever. But I mean, the numbers don't lie. I mean, for it to be that like that precise to the last digit is... It's
unbelievable.
Yeah.
And that's why I love the bit here of crazy coincidence, because it could very well be just a complete coincidence.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. When you add that many together, it does make you wonder. And that's what's, at least I love that part about life, is like we don't, it's the unknown. No. We don't fucking know. No. It doesn't scare me, but it's just like exciting, you know? Because that's not even, I mean, again, like you said, the true north one, you just said something about the constellation. I saw something where it aligns with like Orion's belt.
Yes.
And there's just it's one on the probably the higher, I'd probably say in the top 5 of the next places that Morgan and I go to travel is going to Egypt. Yeah.
Man, I went there when I was a lot younger with my dad. He took me, and I don't remember too much about it because I was very, very young. But from what I do remember of it, I loved it. But yeah, it's always that's top of my bucket list. That Tokyo.
Ooh, Tokyo.
Probably top 2 right now.
Tokyo is on our list. I'd have to, because we just spitball like our bucket list of where our things. I think Egypt is actually, I would say, in the top 3 right now.
Yeah.
Just because when we have Blakely come, we want to do our first just her and I trip when we feel like we, are comfortable leaving the baby behind. Right. We want to do like a week trip, and it's probably going to be Egypt.
Yeah.
Just because we're both fascinated on the idea of like that. And that's my thing too. It's like I love talking about this stuff. Mm-hmm. I love talking about it. But until I see it
with your own eyes,
with my own eyes, that's the only way I can be like definitively like, because I feel it's documented. I can express my opinion on things, but until I fucking see it with my own eyes, I'm like, yo, that, like, how? Like, how is that even made?
That's what I was going to say. I was going to say, I feel like you actually seeing it would spark even more questions, because then you just be like, there's no way that people with little screw drills manage to get these massive blocks of, is it limestone or whatever it is, massive blocks of limestone that high up,
stacked up,
that put like precisely to the point where it doesn't fall, doesn't crumble. It's just all, and even the tunnel systems inside of it and stuff like that.
I'm totally with you, man. And that's the thing. Oh, and that kind of segues, like, it's one of the what are they called, the 8 wonders of the world?
Yeah.
So that's like our
bucket
mission.
List.
We want to do that because you're right. Like, even all, like, we're adding on to that wild coincidence. That in itself is wild. But then when you start adding all of these things on, it's like, yo, there's something here. That's incredible, right?
Yeah.
And then you see the humanitarian ability to do that. It's incredible. There's stuff I could go on for days, but even like at the top, there used to be a point, like some sort of like metal point.
Yeah.
Or it was made of gold or something.
Right.
But it's no longer there. Everything's there except for that. And they're saying either it was, at least from my understanding of the situation, it was either a different country or different opposing country. They had conflict and they came and took it, or like it's just wild. You think about that type of stuff where it could, reflect light and stuff. It's like, what the fuck? Like, what are we, and we think we're so advanced. I think it could have been like way more advanced than we were.
I'll tell you right now with the technology that we have today, and we have a lot of it, and we can build these very intricate metal buildings and stuff like that. We can't build that right now.
Yeah,
to that precision.
I think that is the case. I think you're right. I think that they've actually said that it would be very difficult even now to do that.
It would take years and years and years and years and years to even do that. I mean, there's so much. Honestly, like I feel like one day we should just do a pod where we just go through the different stuff on like the pyramids and stuff like that, and to add in, because I think in the 8 wonders of the world, I think there's a lot of stuff that actually. They all kind of like intertwine in their own sort of weird way.
That's not a bad idea. Maybe like we do a dedicated pod on to just doing certain things.
Come in with some tinfoil hats.
That would actually be fitting. Yeah. Or even the logo has like fit.
Yeah.
There's got to be something where people will get the fact that we're just reaching there. But it's actually, that's the thing though.
Jack Reacher.
Last thing I want to say, Jack Reacher.
You said Reacher.
What is that? What is that? How does that have any correlation? What does that mean?
Nothing. You just said Reacher, so I was like, Jack Reacher.
Jack Reacher. Who's Jack Reacher?
You don't know the guy Tom Cruise played him. He's like the.
Oh yeah.
It was a terrible joke.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Just trying to plug it. I thought we had a segue there.
No.
Shit. What the fuck was I gonna say? I guess that's kind of a fitting way to end the pod. Yeah. Jack the fucking Reacher. All right. Jesus, dude. Fucking Tom Cruise, or who was it? Who plays Tom Reacher or Jack Reacher?
Tom Reacher. Yeah, Jack Cruise.
Jack Cruz. I see what you did there. That was good. Who does play that character?
Tom Cruise.
It is Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
Okay.
Brilliant. I mean, honestly, I thought this is very interesting. So thank you for the crazy coincidence, mate.
Yeah, man. You know, I think it's always a good conversation.
Yeah.
You know, you never know.
Sparks a bit of debate. Got a new idea for the next pod. Well, pod in the future.
That would be fun. I actually do have to agree. Sorry, I'm looking over here to see. I think we have 30 seconds here. But that would be funny, though, if we actually did, like, put tinfoil hats on or something. We'd have to do it on, like,
do like a weekend or something like that?
Yeah. It'd have to be on just where we're drinking and then just do whatever the hell we want.
Could be the first Neighborhood Watch one.
That could be fun.
Stay
we need
tuned.
to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, broadcast 2 in a row again. We're back at it. Happy Dad, Nelk. You know what? It doesn't even have to be Nelk. It could be Barcel. It could be whomever's out there.
Hit us up.
We're going to send you some of this stuff at some point. I know it sounds crazy, but you got to shoot your shot, right? Unless you're LeBron James.